Welcome to Causing the Effect, a podcast focused on the exploration of your mind, body, and spirit.
Causing the Effect community, thank you for joining me. We've grown a little bit, and if you haven't, if you're new to this, which I know, about half of you are, this is Raj Gorsia, one of my very close friends, and he probably the most, I think he came on the most times out of anybody, Raj. Raj was half corporate, half coaching, and went on an excursion, it looked like, and now he's doing full-time coaching. And this is going to be a catch-up episode. It's going to be a lot of, I just want to know, like, what you just seem different to me. You seem even more elevated and chill. So what's been going on, man? You gotta fill me up 6 months in an hour. So go.
Dude, let's do it, man. So 6
Yo,
months in an
and
hour.
you
So
look,
what's happened?
you look great, Raj. With the, I'm talking more like yoked up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. Like I've been going, been going hard in the gym. So that's like what's been happening recently. I've spent maybe the last 5 weeks really getting back into the bodybuilding style workouts, because I think I mentioned to you like a long time ago that I stopped doing all bodybuilding style workouts. I stopped doing anything which involved heavy weights. I stopped it all, man, because I was fully committed to, like, let's call it the yogic spiritual journey. And all of this stuff at the time felt like it was holding me back, like having all this extreme weightlifting and aggression and all of that kind of stuff. So now I've come back almost as a rebirth to it, and I'm enjoying it a lot, man, because I'm looking at it from a different perspective now. Like in the past, it's always been aggression and like push myself. And I'm still doing that. I'm going through agony in every single workout, like extreme levels of pain. I haven't trained like this in years, but I'm trying to bring a lens to it, which is like a lens of almost like treating a bit like meditation, let's call it. A bit meditative, a bit more loving rather than hating myself, so I gotta train,
yeah, and I think I'm so excited to talk about lifting with you, because this is, me and Raj never done this.
Yeah.
And everybody check out, I don't know, Raj came on, we spoke, the last one we did was the Creator, Preserver, Destroyer with you,
Yeah.
with all the, the three gods. So it's just anything you hear with Raj will be on the spiritual side. So now I get to talk fitness with you, and I'm with
Yeah.
you, Raj. There's a little switch there that happens. I think even when you start, and even people think bodybuilding is about vanity, and I'd say there's a little bit there, but it's not. Even for me nowadays, it's really not about that. And you go from as a dumb young guy taking pre-workout, trying to throw the weight around. And that's the biggest mistake I see. It's like when you make that switch from, I'm going to blast music in my head and look like a psychopath, to just being mindful. Like I went from, now I would listen to like classical focus music, or like I type in like Batman meditation and stuff, and like all this fun stuff.
Nice.
And when you start looking at it like how you're looking at it, it's just it changes what it is, because I don't think not a lot of people understand that it's, you have to, what Arnold always said was, have your mind in the muscle. That's being mindful, right? And if you're not, you're not going to have as an effective workout. It sounds like that's kind of the shift that that you've made.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the contractions for the muscles are so much stronger when I'm really there, when I'm really focused. And it's almost like a loving act in a way, man. Like that, I'll put that spiritual twist on it. It's an act of love to be able to build my body. How awesome is that? You get to do this thing and you get to build your body, rather than it coming from a place of lack and like I need to be better because how I am right now is not good enough. So that's the spiritual twist I put on it. It's coming from a place of you're leveling up, but right now you're also good. So training with that kind of mindset, it makes it much more fun. It's so much more fun. There's this focus, there's this push, the contractions are harder. I'm pulling out reps that I wouldn't have pulled out before. I'm putting myself through extreme pain because I know it's a game.
Bro, you look like jacked up out of the gills, and I know you were away for most of the time. What kind of regimen are you doing now?
Yeah, so at the moment I'm doing a 3-day split, and then I'll take a day off and I'll just do abs or cardio on that day. And then I'll do another 3-day split. So I'll just keep repeating it. So it's basically like I'm training every day at the moment. every single day, apart from that one day where I'll do abs, you know, an off day.
Yeah, because I think even when you go into this, you know, we talk about the balance of the mind, the body, and the spirit. I think me and you have done that
Yeah,
multiple times, the doing, the being, all
yeah.
this good stuff. And like when if you're balancing, right, it's always gonna, if you think about like a scale, there's always gonna be a little bit more towards this, a little bit more towards that. And I feel like
Mm,
now you're really focusing on the body. It's just like it, and that's not a bad, there's no bad or good to this. This is what I think makes everything exciting. Cause even if, you know, I'm sure you're still doing your spirituality work, but like
mm,
it's nice to have a little diversity and be a little jacked up and like do something different and get the body moving. Like I think there's always this pull for me. I think it
mm,
used to be the body and now it's more towards the mind. But
mm.
you know, it's just different. Now, where did this change come from? And I know you went on the trip, and I know there's just a lot of change that I want to talk to you about. So you could start wherever you want.
Yeah, so let me start with this. So this whole year for me has been about creation. And what I mean by that is, you know, you can call it more of the outer stuff. You know, I was focused for like 3 or 4 years really on the inner world, still doing outer stuff as well, you know, like creating my business, all that health stuff. But this year's really been about me and expressing myself in the world, you know. So one part of that was I'm gonna go and travel and explore, you know, go and see this world, this physical world that we're in, go and explore, go and have fun. So I spent like it's probably about 3 or 4 months in total on and off around Europe because it was the summer season, you know. Beautiful time to be in Europe, man. One of the best times. So I went like Croatia, I was in Portugal, Spain, I was a bit in Italy. I was all over the place, man. I was all over the place.
Dude,
So like that was the beginning of it.
and everybody, just so we know, because I know we get emails from the young cats trying to get out of this 9 to 5. Raj was in the 9 to 5 in a way, Big Four,
Yeah.
all this firm,
Yeah.
Deloitte, every, you know, all that's good stuff. And like, what did that look like? Because I know you came on February. I think the contract was done June. Is that when you started?
Yeah.
Like, you were like, this is the plan. I'm going to go see everything. And like, what was that like? Because it sounds scary from,
Yeah.
I'm going to spend money. It sounds scary from a,
Yeah.
I don't know. I want, yeah, you, what was that for you? Like for you?
Yeah, man. And this is the thing a lot of people approach me about actually for coaching, because a lot of people are going through transitions where they want to create more freedom, right? So for me, it was I actually finished in around February time. I finished the corporate gig February time. And just for everyone else who's listening, some context, I was working at, yeah, Big Four, EY. I was a contractor, so it's kind of like I wasn't an employee. They hired me to do stuff. And before that, I was an employee, like maybe like a couple of years back, I was a full-time employee, all of the politics, all the corporate stuff. But basically, like my path has been going from being an employee to slowly doing my own thing, but still working for corporate, you know, as my own business. But then it was like, I want to transition into doing my own thing only in this thing called coaching and mentoring people, you know? So it's almost like I had a transition process. I'm not the kind of guy who's like, leave everything behind with no plan, with nothing, you know. So you know, like I was building this up for like a few years.
Mm-hmm.
For 2 years, I was building up this little side hustle, you can call it, until it came to a point where I know how good I am in this field of coaching. I know how good I am, and I've built up enough connections with people to have created my business in like stability, let's call it. So the whole travel piece came as soon as I finished that, dude. I was like, I'm done there. Literally, like 10 days later, I flew out because I was like, this is it, man. I've made it. And I was speaking to one of my coaches, and he was like, Raj, you got to like applaud yourself because you've been working on this for a while. Now you get to do what you want. You get to have your freedom.
Yeah, and I think that is a more realistic way than the whole let's burn the ships to take the island like that. We get it, but we got
Yeah,
bills to pay, and we got to, you know, we got to have a little bit of a
exactly.
plan here. So, like, what
That's
that
it.
what was the? Were you coaching while you were vacationing or while you were
Yeah,
running away?
yeah, I was. Yeah. So I was doing that. I took my laptop with me. I basically gave myself 2 days of full time. I'm working on those 2 days. I'm seeing my clients 2 or 3 days, basically 2 or 3 days out of the week. I was seeing my clients, and then the other 4 days or whatever, how many days, I was just having fun and I was exploring. I was traveling. It was a perfect balance, man.
It sounds like, and it's like, it sounds like when you're traveling and when you're experiencing things is when like knowledge turns into wisdom almost. And
Mm,
I would think I would rather talk to the guy
yeah.
who's running around the world, literally kind of living what people kind of aspire to do. Was it everything you expected it to be?
Yeah, like the most awesome thing was when I started getting on the road, I stopped reading books, I stopped learning, I stopped taking in any information, man. I stopped all of that stuff because I said I just want to experience and kind of like you said, I want to apply and live into all of the things that I've like cultivated, the wisdom I've gathered. So it was this whole process of I'm just present to what's here right now. I'm present to what am I doing today. Okay, I got to see a client. Let me focus on that. I'm not going to go and explore. I'm not going to go and mess around. Focus on that work part, you know. And then other days, okay, I've got some spare time, so let me go and do something where I can be offline and I don't need to be online at all. So it was this like real, it was a real experiment, you know. I called it an experiment to myself. I said, I've never done this before. I've traveled in the past, but this is a kind of mix of work as well as travel, you know. So it was a big experiment.
And I like how you set yourself up because like I think if anybody did this without having the inner workings done of their mind, of the fear
Yeah.
would pop up, the anxiety would pop up. Did you ever have a freak out like of like I can't do this or any of that? Because you never struck me as that. And I think with the planning, it would just give you more confidence and energy.
No, I'll be honest with you, man. Like I freaked out so many times, dude. Like even when I was out there, I was freaking out like every week. I was like, what am I doing here? Where am I going next? Where shall I go? And I'd enjoy the experience and I'll feel like, I'm bored now. Where do I go? What do I do with my life? All these questions about my life and who I am came up, you know? So I was having all of these freakouts, all of these things, but I wasn't letting it stop me, basically. I was just listening to it, almost as like signals of, okay, this is telling you this, not letting it stop me. It was all happening. And that's what I tell most people. If you're going to start a business, you're going to start a side hustle, whatever, freaking out is a part of the process, man. If you're not freaking out, then something's wrong. I'll be honest.
Like what it, it just sounds like you've always been chill, but it sounds like the way that you're treating the relationship with negativity isn't quite even negativity. It's like you said experiment, you said, in
Yeah.
the gym, it's just it is what it is. Like what kind of work do you attribute to getting you to that peace or that calm?
Yeah. Yeah. No, really, that's an awesome question, man. The first thing that comes up is having a playful attitude with everything, man. Like, I want to go and travel. I'll call it an experiment on purpose because
Yeah.
that makes my head not make it into a big deal, you know. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to experiment. This doesn't mean I'm doing this forever. I'll just try it for a few weeks. And then I just tried it for a few weeks and I enjoyed it, so I carried on. So it's like all of this like detachment from all of the things I'm doing and being playful, being childlike, you know, with all this, like exploring it, seeing what happens. That's been the biggest thing for me. Like even with the gym, I'm just exploring. I'm going into the workout, I'm giving it everything I've got, but it's just a game. It doesn't mean anything about who I am. It's just a game, you know?
I think that is the trick to life, honestly, because I think
Mm,
people get very emotional with many things, and they're saying, "I am work" or "I am," whatever your result is. What do you attribute that kind of disconnect to? Because I know you've done quite a bit of mental work. Is there something that you're
yeah.
consistently doing now, and is that something that you've been constantly working on?
Yeah, you know what's been the biggest shift for me this year, and actually more so even in these past months, is really connecting to the heart, you know, really connecting to, and what I mean by that is connecting to knowing that you're whole and you're complete. So the kind of things I'll do for that might be some meditations where, you know, like things like loving kindness meditations, forms of that, or compassion, giving some compassion to others, being grateful for things, you know, all these things that are very popular now. Because then that means if I feel whole inside, if I'm leading my life from a loving place, then it means it's like I'm my own parent. You know, we have parents, and you know they speak about this in psychology, where You can have a nurturing parent, or you can have a parent who's judging you, putting you down, all that. We do that to ourselves, man. We do that to ourselves. So I had this massive insight actually just a few months ago where I said, well, what if I wasn't trying to hurt myself all the time? And what I mean by that is, what if I wasn't judging myself? What if I was a nurturing parent to myself? What if I was a great dad and a great mum to me? Changed everything, dude.
Mm. And that comes back to, there's always there's always that yin and yang, that
Yeah.
in the old the old Hebrew scriptures, that they didn't have the yin and yang. They had the God of mercy and the God of justice, and that sounds like that's the father
Yeah.
and the mother. It's a very similar thing, and
Yeah.
and I would say, as it sounds like you had like you would say that this has been like a very up year for you. Like this has been. It sounds
Yeah.
like it could be.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's been an up year, but I'll be clear with everyone listening that I have massive freakouts, breakdowns all the time, man. Like it happens on a weekly basis. But the thing is, like kind of like what you said earlier, I have a different relationship to that now. I see that as part of the path. Like if I'm having breakdowns, it's almost like something is growing. And if I'm looking at it like that, then that means it helps me to grow, right? But when a lot of people, if they have these breakdowns, they start analyzing it and saying, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And it freezes them into like going downhill, you can call it, maybe taking actions that are fearful or whatever. I like the biggest thing for me this year has been listening to all of these breakdowns that happen a lot and just being with them, allowing them to happen and seeing what can I learn from them.
Mm, man, that is powerful stuff. And I would say me and Raj have caught up in them. We've been chatting, but it's been, I don't know, Raj. It's just been, I would say it's been a down year for me. I feel a little hardened from the
Yeah,
world here.
right.
I think coming out, like, this is the first year where you're back to normal in New York City almost.
Yeah.
And the city, I don't know if you've heard what's going on. It's really, it's a little messy. You got to walk through the drug
Right.
situations, this, that, you add, going back full time to work, you add,
Mm,
we have a couple issues going on in my family and my aunt has cancer, but also, my whole family's in court with my mother for the house she's in. So these things have just given me, like, I don't know, it's hard to like find the positivity sometimes. And like, you catch me on a
mm,
good day. Today's leg day, so we're all in a good mood and stuff. But like,
yeah.
it's just, I don't know. I would say I've learned that if I don't do the meditations in the morning and you don't work out, like how you said, those thoughts come. And it's just for
Mm,
people like us that are just thinkers, it's an overflow of, like, you create this entire situations in your mind.
yeah.
And it's like out of control. So I'll tell you what happened, Russ. This is why I'm in a great mood today. But this is what
Yeah.
happened. I'm making up this whole situation at work. I'm the jerk. I'm this. Everybody's
Yeah.
getting the overside of me. And
Yeah.
there was a situation with getting paid certain whatever. And I went to my boss. I made this whole thing. I got myself sick about it. I couldn't go into work. I was like,
Mm,
I have to do this. I was like, I have to do this. I've been waking up, because when you wake up, right, we go right to the meditation and you relax.
yeah.
I wake up so angry, Raj. I was just,
Yeah.
I literally, it was crazy. So I couldn't go into work. I was too tired. I'm like, I have to get this over with. So I tell him, listen, can we have our Zoom call, whatever. I make up this whole thing.
Mm,
He's not going to give me this. He's not, I tell him
mm,
the whole, I did a little breathe in, breathe out work before. And I was like, don't get upset. Just speak logically from this is the situation. And I did that. And this is a 73-year-old Jewish man who I thought was a little cheap or
mm,
whatever. And he literally was like, Scott, I can't agree with you more. I am so sorry to put you in this situation. We will get everything settled next week. And I'm like,
yeah.
what the fuck did I waited 6 months to do this whole
Mm,
thing. And I've been
yeah.
like a ball of anger, of
Yeah.
just torment. And it's just like, I literally did this all to myself. And you start seeing it now. I'm peeling it away because
Yeah.
this when I was sitting by the water, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, it's it's just it's just hilarious what the mind could really do each way. Because I feel like when we met, you met me like we're rolling, and then it's like
Mm.
funny. It really is so powerful. It could swing both ways. It's just crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great example, and like I'm very honest, and I say this happens to me all the time. Like even today, this morning, it happens to me nearly every day. I'm having these like bits of tension that occur, and what I've realized is it occurs like firstly because we're making things up, or we're making assumptions. We're assuming what might happen. We're assuming what others think of us. We're assuming what we think of ourselves. We're adding all of this like meaning to stuff. And then the other part of it is we're not expressing the energy that's inside, like for you are not having the conversation. You're not letting it out to the person. And that's a huge thing. I've realized so many people will contact me saying there's something inside me that they want to let out. Whether that's like I have an idea or I want to be someone different, I want to change careers, I want to have a business, or it's like I'm having relationship problems, communication challenges, I can't speak confidently. There's always something inside that's trapped. If something's inside that's trapped and it's like wrapped with all of this overthinking analysis, that turns into pain, man. That
Yeah.
turns into the pain.
And that like there's energy not only you're taking up from thinking about it, from stressing and like making up this stuff, but then it's like draining you. So it's taking up
Yeah,
energy and it's
exactly.
draining you. And then like
Exactly.
it became so bad, Raj, where like my family was like, you have to quit your job. Like you have to, like, what is
Yeah,
going on? And no, he was just so oblivious to everything because he's an old man. He's running
yeah,
around. He doesn't know what's going on. He's like, oh shit, I didn't know. Like you should have spoke
yeah,
up. And I'm like, I really should have. I can't even get mad at that because it's like you can't if something's being ill, if something's ill intentioned, that's one thing. But if something's just, you're oblivious, which is, how
yeah,
he is. It's so I literally feel today like a weight was lifted off my soul. But then I'm trying to teach this as a learning lesson for myself of like, I got to just speak up more often because this is kind of an issue I have is not, I'm sure many people do that have that.
yeah,
I think if you're high in conscientiousness, you don't want you don't want everybody to like you. That issue
yeah,
pops up. So I strongly suggest anybody who just, if you have a tiny issue, just chat about it. Cause dude, it was such a
yeah,
nice convo. It didn't go crazy. I didn't lose my mind. He was like, yeah, I totally get it. I'm sorry. He like apologized profusely this morning, apologize again. I'm like, oh shit. Like it's really just that simple, just to speak up. And I just, even today, I feel like I'm looking at the world differently. I'm like, oh, you really just created this whole fucking negative,
yeah,
whatever, just getting taken advantage of by people. And it's like, I think for me, that was something that my mother put in, in those years 1 to 7. It's such a crucial year. And that
yeah.
was always like, don't be a jerk to anybody, Scotty. And it's like,
Mm.
we gotta kind of recondition that or decondition that. So a lot of good stuff, a lot of weird stuff happened, but I think we're on the up and up now, Raj.
Yeah, like the other thing that has come up for me this year has been this whole thing about expression, expressing myself more. Whether that is like saying things to people or me doing things, like going to travel, that's an expression of what's inside. And
Mm-hmm.
that this is like I've realized this is the key for us to thrive as humans. It's there's some stuff inside that could be in your mind, that could be whatever. It could be ideas that you have. That stuff's inside and it wants to come out. It wants to come out. And that's where it comes out through our voice, through our actions, through our hands, whatever, through whatever we do. It wants to come out. And if we actually allow that and we act on it and we let it come out, we're living in the highest expression of what being a human is, the highest potential, I think. That's been my year, man. Like really like what's in here? Whether that's like mental stuff or feelings or things I haven't said to people. I got to get that out, man. The more I'm getting that out, the more free I feel. And this is like, for example, someone you enjoy having a conversation with your friend or accountability partner or a coach or someone like this is why people will come and hire me or hire any coach because expressing, letting it out, and then having someone there who's going to help you let it out and help you turn that into something, ideas into something, is so enjoyable because it's what we're made for as humans.
And I think that step, it's like because it seems that first step is the hardest step to expressions. Like this is the emails I get from the young kids of like, I don't know where to start. And I'm sure you get that. This is
Yeah,
probably what you're
yeah,
an
I get
expert in.
this.
What do you say to the person who says, Raj, I don't know where to start? I don't know what step one is. I know I have like an inkling, because I think deep down people say I don't know what to do. I'm like, that's bullshit. You have an inkling. There's something in your soul. Maybe it's just too weird to tell us, but whatever that inkling is, let's say this person has this. How would you get them to at least take little action?
Yeah, so I'd ask them, the question I ask people a lot is, what would you like to create? What would you like to create? And they might say, well, I want to create better relationships with people, or I want to create confidence in myself, or I want to create a business. I want to, whatever it might be, I want to create a new career. And I'll say, great. Okay, why do you want that? Why is this important to you? If you had this, what would change for you inside? And I'll really get them to clarify that this is what they want first, right? What do they really want? Sometimes there's other things underneath that they want as well, right? I'll get them to clarify what they want. And then I'll just get them to this place where it feels possible. It feels possible. I'll say to people sometimes, if you had that, imagine we're there now and we clicked our fingers and we were there. How would that feel? Imagine we're there. Visualize it. Be there. And once you start feeling all that energy of like, this is real, this could be real, it's almost like coming back now, what's the smallest, tiniest step? I say tiniest to people a lot, so it doesn't trigger the fear response in our brains, that gets overwhelmed by how big something is. So I say, what's the tiniest step? Let's say you want to create a business. I'll say, okay, what's the tiniest step? And the person might say, well, I gotta write down what it is that I want to create. That might be one tiny step. Well, the tiniest step could be whatever, right? Whatever it could be. For fitness, it could be I gotta start working out. That's it. Okay, when are you gonna do that? I'll get them to commit. That's another thing. One thing is we have ideas. We have ideas. Loads of people have ideas. Everyone wants to do things. And it's all fun to play inside your head. It feels enjoyable. It feels like, yeah, this is cool. I want this. And then when you get someone to say, okay, go and do it, sometimes we freak out, right? When it's action time. So it's getting someone to commit to that tiny action. I'll say to someone, when are you going to do this? Commit to me right now. And when I ask someone for commitment, I'm really asking them to not break their word, their bond. Because if they do, we have a relationship here. I don't want them to break their bond to themselves, to me, to their life. So this thing will get done. It's just really asking for that commitment and then someone acting on it and then continuing actions. That's usually what I do with someone.
Wow, that's so cool. And I love that the beginning piece, because I feel like understanding why you want something is important, because that must be the worst when you do something and you realize, oh shit, this wasn't it. And listen, that's going to happen sometimes because you got a trial and error. But by figuring out a person's values, I'm curious. Have you kind of by asking that question, is it a often thing where people switch up, or at least realize like, wow, this isn't really what I want. I'm trying to fill this because of X or because of Y. Is that something that happens often?
Yeah, it does. It does. It's like I'll ask them, why is this important? And if I feel this thing from them where they're not that excited about it, they don't have that drive or the passion. They just think that this is what they want. Then I'll try and dig deeper and say, what do you really want? Someone might say something like, I want to feel free. So we'll start from there. We'll start, okay, what does freedom mean to you? They might say, well, okay, I get to have more time. I get to have financial freedom, whatever. We'll start defining that. And once we define that, then it's like, okay, now we know what you really want. Let's start doing it.
Man, I like that a lot. Now, how has from going through the process, it sounds like you did this to yourself. You said, these are my values. I want to go through them. And have you seen your values change through this process that you went through in the last 6 months?
Yeah, like for me now, I've probably said the word freedom so many times in this episode because I think that's my number one right now. I didn't think it used to be. Yeah, that's it. It never used to be.
You've never said it. You've never said this. You never said the word
I've
freedom.
never said this. That's what I mean. Like it's only in the last 6 months this has become this thing that's my number one right now. Like freedom. And that means freedom in the mind. That means freedom to be where I want. That means freedom to talk to who I want. Just freedom of expression. How do I talk to people? How do I be confident? All of that, man. Like freedom is the number one for me, and it's changed. I think in the past I would have said something like, my number one value is peace, or something like that. I would have said peace.
Yeah.
And freedom's way more expensive for me right now because it's like there's more possibilities there.
What did freedom mean to you before you started this plan of kind of etching out to be on your own, and what does it mean to you now?
Yeah, so freedom before was all about the mind, freedom in the mind, having space,
Yeah.
not like overthinking and all of that. That's what it used to be. Now, freedom for me in this last year is more about like expressing what wants to come out inside of me. So that could be in the form of me being a more powerful coach and human being to people by saying things that are powerful and strong, even if the other person might not like it. Just really expressing what I want to say, saying what I want to say confidently. That's one example. And the other example is freedom in terms of how do I like my time, freedom in my time. I want to be able to say the time that I have in my week is mine. I choose how I'm going to spend it. Okay, I want to go and work out. That's my freedom. I get to do it whenever I want. I want to lie down sometimes. I have freedom to choose. I'm going to lie down right now. There's no guilt because I'm my own boss of freedom, I get to say, what does freedom mean to me? It means I can lie down and do nothing sometimes. Freedom is I get to choose how much my fees are when someone's working with me. I get to make that up. No one's decided that for me. I get to make that up. Freedom is how many clients do I have? I get to choose that. Where do I want to be? Location. That's on me. So it's just this ultimate flexibility.
It sounds awesome, Raj, honestly. And like
Yeah.
this that trip now, that
Yeah.
did you see Jesse, by the way, turnover?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
him in,
I
in
heard
Portugal.
Portugal. I would guess you did. I would guess you did.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what was the coolest part of this trip? And like, because I don't know, if I feel like you're the same Raj, but maybe you're a little bit more. I don't know what the word is. You're just different. It's like not a focus. I can't, because you're always focused.
Mm,
No, you know what? I think it's a good word. Focus. It's like almost more pinpoint. Not I was thinking
mm.
not hardened, because I think it's your muscles that I'm talking about, but
Yeah.
like a little more. I don't know, and I think I don't know. You could tell me if because I feel like
Yeah.
in COVID I got so in touch with the feminine side, and we're talking about all these
Yeah,
conversations. I mean, we never had a conversation
definitely.
like this. We were getting deep in this all stuff, but I feel like I the world has made me a little hard, but I feel like there's a lesson there, and there may be a reason why,
Mm.
because you can get a little too into that world. Do you feel similar, or am I totally off the track here?
Yeah, that's it. No, you're
Okay,
right. You're
okay,
right on it. Like that's been my year. It's been more of like, if you want to call it the masculine, the yang. It's been more of the yang. It's me just like going for things. It's like it's that power, you can call it, that power in myself. That's exactly what it's been for me, man. Like this whole thing of I'm gonna go travel. I want to explore the outer world, because we can get too wrapped up in the inner world. And I'm not saying it's not important. It's very important. But then there comes a place where you have to combine the two. It's inner world and outer world become oneness, really. Like you're treating your outer world based on what is important on the inside and from a calm, focused place. And that's what I think is what I'm being right now. Is I want to decide everything. My time, everything is like I'm being sharp about stuff. Even my clients were
that's it.
saying to me, they're
Sharp.
like, I feel more fire in you, Raj.
Yeah,
I feel like you're fiery right now. You're saying your voice is getting more powerful as well. So that's been my year, man. It's been this like, yeah, like you said, it may be more masculine, but in a healthy way now compared to in the past.
yeah. I don't want to say dangerous, but I think a little bit more dangerous, and I think that's not a bad thing,
Yeah,
Raj. I
I
feel,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's I don't know. It's just very interesting. Now, where was the best place you went on these trips? What was the best thing? What was the biggest insight you have? You got to give me, yeah, I'm sure you got like
Yeah.
crazy stories.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll say Croatia was the best for me. Croatia was the best because I just met really cool people, man. I met like-minded people. You know, when you get that vibe when people are just similar to you, like-minded people who just want to have fun. I was partying and stuff like that, man. I haven't partied hardcore
I saw
like that
Rush.
in ages, dude. Yeah, you saw, right? Yeah, I was having fun, man. I was just really having fun, you know. So Croatia was the best because it has like amazing water, amazing nightlife. Good people seem to be coming there. So yeah, that's my top.
And now from there, how is Spain? How is Portugal? Like, how was the like? You were not planning anything. Like, you were doing a week to week. Like, I'm gonna go. I'm in Croatia this week.
Yeah, quite literally. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah,
sounds
that's how I
okay.
was doing it, man.
All right, that would bug me out, Rush. Like, how does that work? Because I think I was like, I saw I was like, how does he have the money to do this? And then you literally posted the next day, like, this is like $12 to stay here. And I'm like, what is he? How is this
Yeah,
even
yeah, yeah, yeah,
possible?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, like I'm really good with budgeting when I travel, right? I don't generally stay in expensive places unless there's a reason for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my budget is good. I don't really care where I stay. I'm more about staying in like central locations where all the stuff is at, that's important. So I was deciding week by week. It's the funny thing is though, I kind of have a rough plan in my head. And this is how I treat life as well. I've kind of planned things out in my head, but I've not said this is a fixed plan. I'm letting my intuition come in like I'll say, oh, I like it here. I'm gonna stay a few days longer. Cool, I can do that. I have flexibility. But it's kind of like I roughly know. I'm Googling things before I go to a country. So I'm doing like the planning in my head, but then the actual action in the real world is I'll just decide how I feel, like what comes up for me. So it's very, very flexible. And the whole trip was actually like I'd call it a spiritual journey in ways, because I started off with like really being in isolation, hiking, going in mountains, all this stuff. And then slowly I went to Morocco a bit more, connecting with people. Then I went to Spain and Portugal, a little bit more connective, bit of nightlife. And it was like I was growing throughout this whole process. So I chose places that were supporting my growth, if that makes sense, rather than like random. There was like method to this madness, let's call it.
No, dude, it makes sense because I think COVID put us all. There's COVID and there's some gurus, the spiritualities. It's all about what's going on the inside, and I get that. And all you need yourself, but we need people. That's like why we are
Yeah,
human
for
beings.
sure.
And like even I see myself getting that. Like COVID made me a little like more of a hermit. I'm like shit. I gotta get
Yeah,
out in the right way, not going out and just doing the lust stuff, but like getting out there, just having
yeah,
dinner with people. And it sounds like that's how you kind of set it up. Like I'm starting off solo, get your time,
yeah.
obviously, and then you kind of threw the good stuff in and out of it. That's so beautiful.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly it, man. I was getting used to like being around people again. Exactly that, man. Like with the whole travel opening up. Yeah.
What was your biggest surprise about your trip?
Hmm. Biggest surprise. Yeah, I think you kind of mentioned it. The biggest surprise for me was I realized how important it is to connect to people. I kind of knew this before, but when I was out there all alone, right? All alone, nothing to hold on to, no comfort zone, nothing, man. Like when you're in that kind of space, you start getting deep, like insights. So I was getting these insights saying, yeah, I value connection to like-minded people more than anything. I don't care where I am in the world. If I have that, it doesn't matter if I'm in a beautiful country. It doesn't matter if I'm in the most beautiful place. If there is that feeling where there's disconnection, then and not even just connection to people. It could just be connection to yourself, to life. So I realized like how important connection in general is. If there's a disconnect and you feel all alone, man, that's not a nice place to be.
Mm. What does like what were you doing as far as the mental practices before the trip? What were you doing during the trip? And then what are you doing nowadays?
Yeah, that's a great question,
I
man.
mean,
So
I always
yeah,
start
that's an
with that with
awesome
you, and
question,
now I'm
dude.
like, I don't even know what you're gonna say because I we were doing the
Yeah.
whole power force thing where you're doing the moving and shaking. Now, like, what is it now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good question. So before I was very strict on still doing like yoga, like really intense yoga before I went. During the trip, I continued meditation practice and breathing practices, but then it started kind of dying out, like I noticed it was dying out. I wasn't finding space and time. I was in all sorts of locations, packing my bag in the morning, rushing around, all this stuff, man, like madness going on. So I was doing it in a way which was like micro meditation, let's say. So even if I just wake up, I'll just do it lying down, like 10 minutes, just listen to a track, and that would be my practice for the day. I wasn't doing any movement, hardly, because I was walking so much. I was moving a lot in general. But yeah, the morning ritual was gone, man, when I was traveling. Pretty much, apart from in the mornings, I would, yeah, like I said, I'd do a meditation or something, or I'll do some kind of breathing, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and I'm good, And then now I'm in this place where I'm back on the morning routines, but it's kind of well, it depends. Like I'm just using my intuition. So it's still like breathing practices, meditation, sometimes a full sequence of yoga. Um, but let's just say, like in general, it's been toned down and intensified. So it's like I'm still getting the benefits from it, but I'm not doing so much of it, let's say.
So it sounds like the glass was super filled in this kind of morning ritual or the spirituality piece, and now you just kind of dumped a little bit of it into the body, maybe more into just
Exactly.
it's just like even the way you just said, like I just instead of saying I didn't do it or I wasn't hitting it, like the way I would say, like I'm fucking up my meditation. You're like, no, I just didn't find the
Yeah.
time and the space to do it. It's just such a nice,
Yeah, that's it.
light way to do it, bro.
Yeah, man. Like the thing I've realized is the more kinder we are to ourselves and how we speak to ourselves, man, it's made a big difference for me. That's been a huge thing for me this year. Just being kinder in general, to myself, to others. Even just a tiny fraction of kindness, it goes a long way, man.
Mm. Now, what is the plan going forward? Like, is it more just I'm coaching, and then when I have this kind of nomadic feeling to go, you're just going to live intuitively. So it's not like you're not going to be a full run around all the time, right?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's a great
Yeah,
question as well, man. Like I'm almost like experimenting with that, like looking online, seeing where I could go next. So I'm gonna be going somewhere before the end of the year for sure, because I know it's gonna get cold out here and dark, and I don't want to be here when it's like in that zone. So I'm gonna be going nomadic somewhere. I don't know where yet. Um, there's all sorts of options, man, let's just say. But it's gonna be out of Europe because Europe is getting cold too now.
Where are you
So it's the
thinking?
first time I'm going to be away for a while, man, like out of Europe. I'm thinking maybe somewhere in Africa, maybe Asia again, because Asia's cheap and has everything you need. Maybe Mexico. I don't know. I'm looking everywhere,
Well,
man.
keep me in the loop because I will pop in for a little bit. I'm doing something
Oh,
big.
nice.
I don't know what. I'm waiting. I've everybody told me, Raj, all my cousins, everybody's like, you like going away by yourself. We would love to come with you. So I said, okay, Thailand, let's go. Oh well, there could be COVID. All right, you want to go
Hmm.
Peru? All right, 2 days. I'm like, guys, you're out. Sorry, guys. You know what, motherfuckers, that you're listening. So Raj,
Yeah,
wherever you go,
that's
hit
it.
me up. I'll meet you for a
Yeah,
couple
for
days because
sure.
I'm thinking. I heard Mexico seems to be phenomenal.
Yeah,
Not that expensive. Indonesia looks nice to me as well, or
yeah,
Asia. Those seem to be the top three choices. And it's like, dude, I just like I haven't been outside of America this year, and it's like, oh my god,
yeah,
like all work and no play makes Scott a dull boy. That's really um
yeah, man.
what it feels like. How's
Yeah.
how how is business going? Is it getting easier bringing in clients? And I would assume like
Um,
as the more you get, it's just kind of the more that
yeah,
your
it's
footprint goes.
that's it. It's getting easier, man. And it's kind of one of those things where there's a lot of surrendering that has to happen. So it's almost like I'm looking for ways to grow it, but at the same time, I have to let go of it. Because, like things, like for example, what I mean by that is some things are just coming to me just because I'm showing up in places. Like I do these webinars every week, dude. Like for the whole year, it doesn't matter where I was. Actually, when I was traveling, maybe a bit less, but right now I'm doing webinars like once, twice a week. I'm just showing up in places and people are just finding me. People are messaging me. People are saying, I love your work. And it's just, if I continue doing these things, the business grows. That's what I've learned. If I keep showing up and keep doing things it just grows, man. And it's really hard for me to force it to grow, let's just say. So it's one of those
Dude,
like it's like watering a plant, man.
hold on. I want to show you one thing, Raj. I'll show you this
Yeah,
book.
go for it. Yeah.
So I started reading this book, and it's been changing the game for me. And it's so funny you brought this up, because like the issue I've been having is I feel like I'm grasping so hard to everything. It's
Yeah.
called Letting Go. Same thing.
Ah, dude,
The Pathway of
this
Surrender.
book changed my life. This
Really,
is one of
dude,
the number one life-changing books for me.
bro, Rush, unbelievable. And literally, I couldn't tell you
Unbelievable.
what was happening in during COVID, but I wasn't grasping on things, not grasping on money, not grasping on
Yeah,
anything. And thank God the podcast, it's very similar to the coach. You just show up, you do it, you put in the best, you have good people, and that grows. And thank you
exactly.
guys so much. We love you. Shout out to the sponsor. We got sponsors now, Raj. Shout out to the sponsors.
Nice.
Magic Mind.
Yeah,
Everything's good. We're rocking and rolling.
nice, man.
But like this whole idea of grasping, like, I don't know, the more you grasp, it's like the less comes of it. It's
Yeah,
just such an unbelievable thing. And
sure.
I'm so happy you read that book. I figured you might have, but yeah, that whole
Yeah,
that whole thing
that's
of
it.
being so attached to money, or to just like an identity. It's starting to click to me now. Like, why do you make it? Because then the more you grasp is what? It's the opposite of what you're talking about. It's tension. It's like,
Yeah, that's
and
it.
you're not being playful then. So by grasping, you're not being playful.
Exactly, man. And it's one of the hardest things for someone to be able to learn. But when they do, it's very hard for me, and it still becomes hard, right? But when you can, all the things you want actually just become easier. You start getting it, because you're okay how you are. You're okay how you are, but then you're still playing the game of like, what do you want? How do you want to grow? And being in that stance with life, with whatever you want to create, man, this is just so nice because you're chilled. You're chilled. You're not, you don't need it. You're not needy. They say neediness is creepy, right? Neediness is creepy. I've remembered that line forever. And I've tried to apply that to everything. If I'm needy with anything I want, man, I'm not in a good frame.
Dude, and that's exactly right. There's something with because I think when you need something, you're doing the opposite of what you just said. Is you're telling yourself you don't have enough, or I am not enough,
Exactly.
and then that's the
Exactly.
game. But what you're doing is saying, I already have everything I need. This
Yeah.
is just the game, and if I get it, I get it. If I don't know, you're not too attached. You really don't seem to be attached to. Oh, I'm going to the gym, doing this, I'm doing that. Like that. That's
That's
what
it.
happened with me and my body. The same way I'm sure probably you did. It was like I just wanted to get a little thicker. And the second
Mm,
I stopped worrying about my body, I was like, I'm good. And you start putting on a little more mass. It's like just funny how
exactly.
it all works. And I think the science of it, this book goes through the science of it. It's the Pathway to Surrender, David R. Hawkins. I'm not going to try to pretend to know what that is, but just don't
Yeah.
grasp too much. So,
Yeah, dude, enjoy the book, man. Like it definitely changed my life. And there's not that many books that have changed my life. There's probably a list of maybe, I don't know, 20. And that one's definitely in there, man. So enjoy it.
what would you say, like, what are the biggest things that you realized you had to kind of let go of or really surrender to outside of the coaching piece of it?
Hmm. Okay, one of them is letting go of my assumptions of what I think someone's thinking or what I think is happening, or just control, let's just say. Letting go of control, dude. Like there's something so nice and enjoyable to say, yeah, I can be very active. I can do things, I can take action, but letting go after you've done that. And it just means that whatever action you do, you're going in full force and then you're letting the rest happen. Like for example, with gym, your body has to repair itself. You can't do that. You can't say, hey, I'm going to repair you. You can just do the work and the rest you have to let go. You're surrendering in some way. So it's for me, like the biggest act of surrender has been powerful actions, really going for it, but then letting go.
Not thinking about it, not over analyzing it. I'm just gonna do
Yeah.
literally the best I could. I'm gonna go experience this trip as the best I could. I'm gonna
Mm,
go lift as best as I could. I'm gonna service my clients the best I could. And then fuck it. What else is there to
exactly.
do? And that's just like
That's
that
it.
makes the most sense, Raj.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Man, thank you so much for joining us, Raj. You have a couple spots left for coaching if people want to get on it?
Yeah. So at the moment, it's for some reason people seem to be really opening up. I don't know if it's the season change, but I'm getting a lot of people starting to be interested in this. So if anyone listening to this likes what they're hearing, and generally what happens is someone feels something from when I say something, and they say, "I've just connected with your energy." So if anyone's feeling like that, then just drop me a message. It doesn't mean I'm gonna try and say we can be a client, but there might be something I can send you, some way I can help you, some direction I can point you towards. So that's what I say to anyone listening.
Yeah, and I can't one of the realest ones in the business. And if just we'll put the Instagram. Instagram's the easiest way to get you, Raj.
Yeah, Instagram or my website is withraj.com.
Yeah,
Either one of those, yeah.
we'll put those in the notes below. That's it, man. It was so nice chatting with you. Make sure you don't run away for 6 months next time. We'll get you on next month before you
No,
leave.
dude, no, for sure, man. Let's let's definitely catch up sooner.
Cool,
See
man.
what keeps happening in our worlds, man.
Yeah, bro. I love like watching us. For people that don't know
Yeah,
Raj, like we've been doing this. This is like the 3rd year of this now, and like each of us, like we're just doing
yeah.
these slow and steady builds. So man, I appreciate you, bro. Seriously, always.
No, you too, for sure.
That's it, people. Thank you so much. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, leave a like. If you're listening, thank you guys so much for all the support. It's tremendous. This is everything to me. As always, stay safe, stay positive, stay blessed. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.